Despite not owning a monitor for the first few years of videography, I do think it should be a staple in everyone's kit bag. That's just because you can't really trust what you're seeing on the screens of your cameras, especially if you've got one of these Sonys. The screens are small, the quality is not that great on them, and it makes it difficult to nail exposure and focus. So just having a little bit of a bigger screen on top can help you nail that exposure, focus, and just framing as well. It also adds a few features. One of these features might be focus peaking, which obviously is available in cameras, but I know on the Sonys, as soon as you switch to autofocus, it stops focus peaking. So sometimes you end up focusing on something, you think you're in focus because you've got autofocus on, and maybe you've tapped in the wrong place, or maybe you've just missed focus a little bit. These monitors do add focus peaking even when your camera is in autofocus. You can also get things like LUT previews, so you can upload LUTs to the monitor and then preview your footage with that LUT on top. And I know some of these monitors do external recording, so if you're recording on the Sony A7S III, for example, if you record externally onto a Ninja 5, then you can get ProRes RAW, I believe, so that adds some extra features to your camera as well. But also it just kind of looks more professional. If you turn up to a corporate shoot with an A7S III or an A7 III and it's got nothing on it, it can kind of look a bit underwhelming to the client. Maybe they're expecting a big camera like an FX6 or an FX9. But actually, putting a monitor on top does help add that little bit of professionalism, and I don't know, it is obviously an aesthetic thing, and you know, you might want to travel light, but I do think it adds a bit more of a wow factor for your client. The good thing is as well, these monitors are getting really cheap, and if you don't have the money to splash on like a Ninja 5, for example, which I believe is like $500 or something, then you can actually get a really good monitor at a really good price. For example, this, which is the Andycine C6, which is what we're talking about today. This is $280, and I'm going to be comparing it to the Andycine A6 Plus, which is $200 monitor, which I've already reviewed, and I'll link that below in the description, as well as put it up here somewhere. And we comparing the two and sort of going through the features and what's better about the C6. Is it worth paying an extra $80? If you're new to this channel, my name is Chris Spice. I make videos on camera gear, filming on the go, and making good purchasing decisions. So if you're into that, then hit that subscribe button down below. The A6 Plus was a 5.5 inch screen. It was touchscreen. It came with plenty of features like focus peaking, false color, and then adding LUTs onto your footage as well, so LUT previews. And it's pretty much have everything that you need. And then they also updated it to add vector scopes and histograms and things like that. So they did keep it updated, which was quite nice. Since then, they've released the V2. So in the V2, they added a few features, for example, USB power, so you can power it with a power bank. They also added automatic flipping, so if you change or flip the screen over, the orientation will automatically change, which the V1 didn't have. And they also included this new arm, which is a lot easier for swiveling the monitor around. In my opinion, the A6 Plus has everything that I need, but you've got to wonder also about using it outdoors in bright sunlight. You did need a sunshade to do this, it just wasn't bright enough, and that's where the C6 comes in. So the Andycine C6 that's a bit of a mouthful. So the screen on the C6 is 6 inches, and the selling point is it goes a lot brighter. So they're claiming 2600 nits, and it's definitely a lot brighter than the A6 Plus. It's got all the same features as the A6 Plus, like the focus peaking I mentioned earlier, the LUT previews, and the vector scopes and histograms that came with the A6 Plus update, and it's got the auto flipping from the V2, but it doesn't allow for powering via USB-C, and I think maybe the screen just gets too bright and it takes too much power, so they didn't include that in the C6. So if I flip it over, there are fans in the back to compensate for the heat that's generated by turning the brightness up, so you get a big fan here, and this automatically kicks in at over 80% brightness, and I've never been able to hear it, so it's not something you have to worry about. And weight wise, it's only coming in at 275 grams, whereas the A6 Plus comes in at about 235 grams. So weight really isn't a consideration here, it's about 40 grams in it. So is it worth paying an extra $80 for the C6? Well, to boil it down to an oversimplification, it comes down to the brightness of that screen. Most of the other stuff is the same. You've got 0.5 inches in the screen size. I still quite like how compact the A6 is with a 5.5 inch screen. So let's go outside and see if it is actually worth it and how it performs. Okay, so we're outside in direct sunlight. We've got both the monitors next to each other, and they're both at 50% brightness. And you can already tell that the C6 here is coming in a lot brighter than the A6 Plus. And the A6 Plus is unusable at this brightness, definitely. So let's just turn that up to 100. So that's as bright as it can go now. and even at 100% it's not as bright as the C6 is on the 50%. So let's turn the C6 up now to 100. And obviously the C6 is just really bright, it's easily visible even in direct sunlight, so it's perfect for outdoor use. The A6 Plus is now a bit brighter, but I would still say it's unusable for outdoor use in direct sunlight, even at 100% brightness, without the sunshade. So obviously you can get a sunshade for the A6 Plus, but if you don't want to use a sunshade, the C6 is the way to go. So it's clear that the Andycine C6 does get a lot brighter than the A6 Plus. Now, whether this is worth it for you is a different matter. So for me, 99% of the work that I do with a camera monitor is inside. So YouTube videos and corporate interviews and that kind of thing. So the A6 Plus has been more than enough for me. But for a lot of people who are sort of event shooters, do a lot of work outside in the sun, they're really going to need the extra brightness of the C6. I don't think the A6 Plus has the brightness in it, and yes, it does come with a sunshade, but if you can afford that $80, then I fully recommend getting the C6 just for the extra brightness outdoors. It just gives you that flexibility to go from an indoor environment to an outdoor environment and not have to worry about keep setting up your sunshade or changing its settings. That's it from me. I hope this video has been helpful and helped you make your purchase decisions. I'll leave a link below in the description to the Andycine A6 Plus V2 and to the C6 as well. I know it can be difficult when looking for monitors, there's plenty to choose from, but I fully recommend the Andycine monitors. They're everything you need if you don't need external recording. If you want to see more videos like this on camera gear, filming on the go and making good purchasing decisions, then do hit that subscribe button. If this video has been helpful at all, hit the thumbs up button, and if you've got any questions or comments about these Andycine monitors, then leave a comment down below for me. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.